Choosing the first designer handbag is a big moment. So let's break down between Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Saint Laurent. Which brand is better if you were to pick up your first luxury handbag? Hello everyone and welcome back to another mommy review where I review all things for the love of. Today I am answering the big question between Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Saint Laurent. Which brand is the best brand to get your first luxury handbag if you're looking for quality, style, and overall value? Let's have a look. Now, before I get started, if you like the content on this channel, I appreciate it very much if you would consider giving this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for considering, and on with the video. I feel like getting your first luxury handbag is a huge moment, especially if you want a bag that's iconic, versatile, and long lasting. So today I am going to break down into my research between the 3 different brands and then go over all the pros and cons related to the style, the pricing, resale value, and see which will be more worth it. Let's get started. To start off, let's look at YSL or Saint Laurent. In terms of styling, YSL do offer really sleek design that I think look really clean and more like understated glam. It's pretty popular in terms of styles like the Lou camera bag, the envelope, and the sunset. The handbags from YSL is more versatile and wearable for everyday use in my opinion. YSL is a great brand to build your staples and their designs are very chic and functional. I do find that Saint Laurent's brand does have good quality and is wearable for the price. In particular, I find that Saint Laurent is a good option if you're not looking for something splattered with logos on it, which can be a personal preference, but I think it gives you a bit more versatility as well. For pricing, YSL is a good option because it's relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other luxury brands that we'll be considering, but I don't think it does as well in the resale market, and it doesn't hold its value as strongly as compared to Louis Vuitton or Chanel. So let's talk about Louis Vuitton. In terms of styling, I find that the styling for Louis Vuitton is very classic. However, it's pretty logo heavy in terms of aesthetic with the monogram and damier bin, which is like instantly recognizable. However, I don't see this as necessarily a con. It's part of the heritage that Louis Vuitton is known for. LV is fun with various colors and styles. They also offer epi and empreinte leather as well. I guess in the designer luxury world, it's kind of considered fast fashion, but they do have some really iconic shapes like the Neverfull, Speedy, and the Alma. For more casual and travel-friendly options, I think their classics are great, but they also have some newer designs like the Capucines that are a little bit more elegant. Their canvas is definitely what they're known for, but it's important to know that it is not leather, and some people feel that it's less luxurious because it is not leather. Quality. Louis Vuitton is known for like extremely durable canvas for both the monogram and the damier, which is resistant to scratches and more resistant to water. But keep in mind, it does have a leather trim, which is like, especially the vachetta, can develop a patina over time, which some people absolutely love the look, but others may prefer something a little bit more lower maintenance. Resale value. Louis Vuitton isn't that bad of an option if you're looking to sell it in the secondhand market later on, let's say if you don't love the bag, but it's definitely a better option for resale compared to YSL. Next, let's talk about Chanel. Chanel offers a really timeless and like ultra feminine style. It works great for both days and evening wear. Although I think it tends to trend a little bit more formal. I think it really depends on the model though. Most of the Chanel seasonal bags I would say are not as worth it because like they tend to have more mishaps. Whereas I find that quality wise, the classic flaps have great quality compared to their seasonal items. Overall, the Chanel styling is very polished and like classy aesthetics. However, I just feel like it's a bit too formal for daily wear. In terms of pricing, prices for Chanel does increase quite regularly, so they often appreciate in value. However, I think with their new pricing policy, I just don't see the equivalent increase in quality. It is worthy to note that the pricing difference can be explained by the perceived value of the brand, which Chanel has been working hard in terms of making it more of a successful branding from the marketing point of view. Quality. In terms of quality, I feel like the Chanel lambskin leather in particular does tend to wear out very easily, especially around the corners, so they don't do as well in the resale market. The Chanel caviar leather is much better in quality compared to YSL pebble leather, at least in my personal experience. The Chanel vintage bags, on the other hand, I feel like is a whole other category on its own. They are definitely worth buying nowadays, given the better quality and craftsmanship that vintage Chanel is now known for. Overall, I do find that the handbags from Chanel are a little bit more delicate, in particular lambskin, but even caviar needs a little bit more care. Resale value. If you are about resale value, I think that Chanel is naturally the top pick. It is a very smart investment that I would absolutely, without a doubt, consider out of the three brands that Chanel would probably top the rankings right after Hermes. So what is my final conclusion? Between Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Saint Laurent, which brand is the best brand for your first designer handbag? Well, let me sum it up for you. Starting off with Louis Vuitton. If you're looking for something durable, practical, and holds value, especially like for the classics, I think that Louis Vuitton is a great choice because it's easier to maintain than faux leather bags. My only concern is that it's a bit ubiquitous. I think some people want something less like everywhere. But if you're looking for something durable, iconic in terms of status, and like at a lower price point, I think Louis Vuitton is definitely the way to go. In terms of Chanel, I think it's a very timeless option, great resale value, especially for the walk and the classic flap, but it is a little bit on the more expensive side, especially for a first handbag. However, if that's what you want, like something luxurious, timeless elegance with a good investment value, Chanel is definitely the way to go. So that brings us to YSL. I think YSL is like a great choice if you're looking for something modern style that is like wearable on a daily basis but still has a luxurious vibe. Saint Laurent is a solid designer brand choice. Personally, for me, I've been a little bit less inspired by their recent design, but I love how it's more affordable entry into luxury, and I feel like Saint Laurent is stylish without being over the top. It's easier for you to kind of dress up and down for the different designs that they have for their handbag, and it's slightly more modern and edgy in feel. Definitely out of the three for me, I feel like YSL or Saint Laurent is possibly one of my favorite luxury brands, and most of the bags are pretty clean and sophisticated and great for every occasion. So what is the bottom line? I feel like the important thing is to choose what you truly love, because at the end of the day, whichever designer handbag that you buy is probably going to be a little bit on the higher price side for a bag. You are, after all, paying for like a lot of the prestige and heritage that comes with the brand. So buy the bag that you feel most comfortable with, and that's how you know that it's worth the money for you. Personally, I look for a bag which is not too fancy or trendy, in a classic color or hopefully a shape so you can enjoy it for years to come without regretting your purchase. Maybe also take a look at other luxury brands like Celine, Bottega, and Loewe, only because Chanel and Louis Vuitton are on everyone's mind, and doesn't mean that they are like the best, and also doesn't mean they're not good, but there's just so many alternatives out there. Well, I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I would love to hear from you. What do you think about these three brands, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Saint Laurent? If you have a choice in buying your first luxury handbag, which brand would you recommend, and which handbag would you recommend from these brands? Please comment below and let's start a conversation. Well, That's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me on another mommy review, and I will see you next time. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.